got a great number already joining us. Welcome, I'm Bethany Beavis, Director of Events here at CRETech. Welcome to our December virtual demo day. This is our last virtual demo day of 2020, and over the year, we've had 30 incredible innovation companies join us, and today's 6 are no exception. If this is your first virtual demo day, let me explain how it works. So each company has 30 minutes to walk you through their innovation and take you on a live product demo. This is a highly interactive event, and so questions are encouraged. Before we get started, I just want to take a quick minute to highlight some of our upcoming events. This week, we launched our CRETech virtual match event in February. If you're looking for or looking to fund commercial real estate technology, please join us for that event. You can find out about this event and any of the other events at cretech.com/events. Okay, let's get into today's agenda. Just want to walk you through who we've got today. So up first, we've got Xandar Kardian, followed by Cohesion. At the top of the second hour, we've got Cred IQ, followed by Density. And then our final hour is Fear Mail, followed by Ingrained. All right, so let's get it started with our first group. I'd like to welcome our first presenters, Sam Yang and David Kim from Xandar Kardian, a pioneer in utilization radar technology that can provide true 99.9% occupancy and vacancy detection based on human vital signs and signals. Thanks, Sam and David.
All right, thank you. Let me start by sharing my screen. And I think we need every minute of our time, so I'm going to go straight into it. So first of all, a quick intro about myself. I'm the co-founder and CEO for Xandar Kardian. And from our team, we have David joining us from Toronto. So Xandar Kardian, we are a startup that's focused entirely, just basically obsessed with radar technology. And with radar technology, what we do is on the left side, Xandar side, we do presence detection using a vital sign. And we do people counting using your body motion analysis. And on the right side, the Kardian side, it's remote vital sign monitoring of continuous heart rate and breathing, as well as fall management. So in short, what we do is we basically understand the environment, the building, the furnitures, and as well as anything that moves inside the space, including human beings. Because even when we're not moving, in fact, even when we're sleeping, we are never still because you're breathing, your chest is moving up and down, and inside the body, your heart is pumping blood, so it's making that motion. We're able to detect all of that. So body motion as well as heartbeat and breathing. In fact, we're currently waiting for FDA 510 clearance because of our accuracy is plus minus 1 BPM. In the beginning, how it all started was we were a university spinoff. So my co-founder, Professor Cho, he ended up having a bunch of money, $4.5 million in various grants and funds. And he led a team of 15 DSP, radar, digital signal processing engineers. And all we did was, hey, what can you do with radar other than measure distance? So we had a library of assets, so algorithms based on different types of radar technologies, both FMCW as well as Impulse UWB. And we became a company in 2017. So even though our company is only about 3-4 years old, we've had a lot of experience working radar technologies. So a lot of patents, 24 patents granted in various fields, US EP, peer-reviewed journal publications, heavily because of our university background and various other tractions. We have been fortunate to have won a bunch of awards, especially this year. We've also won the ESX Innovation Award, not only just for 2 categories, smart home and digital health, but also the best in show. Security, hospitality, hotel technology, as well as of today, I believe we are able to talk about it. Embargo was December 15th. We have won all 3 categories that we applied for, which is smart home, in-vehicle electronics, this is child presence detection, and health and wellness monitoring. So having said that, the first thing I would like to talk about is presence detection. So, why does it matter? In fact, this is the first question that I asked when I met Professor Cho. And if you look at the animation, everyone's familiar with the PIR motion sensor. Ultrasonic sensors as well. Some of them, it's triggered by sound. So sometimes it's too sensitive. TV sound, the footstep sound, vacuum machine from the hallway sound, it can just keep on getting triggered. Motion sensors have to be triggered manually, meaning you have to make large body motion. And I'm sure everybody listening in are very aware of this. The issue is not occupancy detection, it's more of vacancy detection. So, what I mean by this is when you have an office scenario, let's say you have occupants coming into work, they're going to go to the bathroom a couple times a day. They're going for coffee breaks, they're going for lunch, they're going for meetings. Each meeting could be 1 hour, 2 hour long. Every time they leave their space, what's going to happen is the PIR motion sensors, because they don't want to cause any discomfort, they don't want people to be just typing away and the light keeps going off, the AC keeps going off, that's going to be a problem. So because of that, they actually have a timer, 30 minutes, 45 minutes. So when you leave and don't come back for a period of time, all that time that it's just the lights and the HVAC is just going to be running, which means wasting a lot of energy. So in a calculation about 8 to 9 times a day that you leave, it's about 270 minutes, 4.5 hours. Whereas our sensor, which is this guy over here, this is radar technology, so it's constantly scanning, sending out 15 million impulses per second, getting 100 data points per second. Basically, it's just a lot of high resolution, and the 15-second cycling is based on the assumption that you're gonna breathe once every 15 seconds. So, yeah, based on that, we can get 135 seconds delay compared to hours. So if you're using your vital sign for presence detection, obviously the other impact that we have is security. The same sensor that does energy saving and space utilization can be also used during off hours or during in certain banks and airports. In fact, this is one of the most I guess, proud things that we have done, because as a startup, it's extremely difficult to get into a bank and airport and international airports. But they have actually tested our systems for about 18 months, stacked up against even other radar companies. It's very, very difficult. It's one thing to have a demo done in a lab. It's completely different to have radar technology deployed in various buildings and know the environment and things like that. So we have done that, and we have a lot of deployments around the world. So having covered presence detection, the next thing I want to talk about is people counting, occupancy counting. I believe it was last year when we were first approached by a shopping mall, and we heard the need, the use case, the problem. The problem was, by using cameras or any other type of over the doorway or ceiling to floor type of sensing, they're only covering spots. Especially in a mall, you're going to have areas where the ceiling is super high. The maximum height is 3.5 meters, and so it's not possible to get people counting everywhere. So you're getting spots of information. Apple Store, for example, whenever I go see any Apple Store, the opening is about 7 meters. You look up, there's about 8 camera lenses. It's well hidden, but that 8 camera lenses represent 4 stereo vision cameras looking down just to get in and out. We could have done that with one or two of our radars. So because each radar will cover about 9.8 meters or about 650 square foot in space. But there's a lot of other benefits. No privacy, absolutely no privacy. We cannot identify people. So we're monitoring the motions that's coming out from the space. 100% discrete installation, meaning we can put the sensor behind walls or ceilings. We get true presence and dwell time, very important. Dwell time measurement gives the ability to get so many other analytics, which I'll get back to soon. We have no impact from light, so sunlight, indoor light, darkness, whatever, complete darkness, it has no impact. Smoke, which means we can sense people through thick smoke. So during fire emergency, it's very beneficial. Everything that we do is edge computing, very low cost to operate, and it's always scanning. So we have been fortunate again enough to have been invited over to deploy into various malls. These are just a couple examples, some photos of the actual deployments. So we have in and out counting, which does real-time accurate counting over doorways like other sensors. But I guess our shot to fame has been our zone counting. So we can cover a virtual zone. And again, we have been doing this for several years now, our fourth year, in fact. As I mentioned, several airports, several banks, and several Class A office buildings. There are some buildings that we are not able to show because of security, NDAs, and whatnot, but these are some of the buildings that we can briefly talk about. And another interesting new sensor that we have recently deployed is this little guy, the size of a golf ball. Two different cases, same radar. It's designed for short range, so 2.5 meters max, and purposely angled 20 degrees so that it can be used as a one-to-one detection system for meeting rooms, co-working spaces, and even bathrooms, toilets. So this information, it's more granular. It's not designed to cover a large space. And yeah, for co-working spaces, is the perfect solution. And here's why. There are competitors in the field that does software only. And when you do software only, and some of them actually are partners now because we can tie in together. When you use software only, in a perfect scenario, in a perfect world, everyone's using the same app and system to book, and they always show up on time, they always leave on time, and so on. That would be nice, but it doesn't work like that in the real world, right? So if people are delayed, they sit in the wrong seat and whatnot. So many companies have been looking at other sensors like Bluetooth beacons, cameras, as well as PIR sensors. But again, with PIR sensors, you have the vacancy timeout. So 2 and 30 minute absence timeout. It's the same problem that I just mentioned before. This guy does presence detection by looking at your breathing. So it's very accurate and we get the dwell time. Some photos of the actual deployments. You'll see how our sensors are deployed over automated doors, regular doors. The picture on the right shows you our density control, so crowd control. So when people enter a closed space, especially like a bathroom, it's very important. Many of the places are now deploying our combination unit, which is combination of our in and out and our zone counting so that it auto corrects each other. It's the most reliable and accurate system that you can get today. We can deploy in these areas like this. We can deploy in rotational doors. We're very, very flexible in terms of where we can count and how we can count. I'm going to go by quickly on this dashboard portion, but just to give you an idea, you can get a map. It can give you a bird's eye view of everything, of simple, yeah, intuitive. You get floor plans, you get information about the data that's coming in, the actionable data focus, peak occupancy, total occupancy by the hour, which entrance has the most traffic, when, which rooms, what type of rooms, is it the large rooms, small rooms, middle-sized rooms? If so, what was the real occupancy based on that, peak usage time? Um, and by the location, department, dwell time. Here's an example. Average usage time, total usage, maximum usage time. So sometimes people ask us, why is it even necessary? What's the dwell time for? In fact, here a good example is if you get dwell time, you're able to even estimate paper roll. So this is a little funny, yeah, but our logic is, hey, if you spend more than 3 minutes in a toilet, maybe we assume that you consumed over 2 meters of toilet paper roll. So there's actually savings on this, in fact, by having that data. Oops, skipped over this slide. Uh, Total floor cleaning efficiency map. So we had this a lot of requests from clients asking, hey, we want to know how effective our cleaning crew is, the contract cleaners are cleaning. So if you're getting the heat map with dwell time, 1 square foot of office space equals about sorry, 50 square feet of office space equals about 1 minute of cleaning. It's the reverse. So based on this logic, we can actually create different color codes to give operations people just a quick glance and saying, hey, they're not cleaning this area properly or that area properly. So these are things that you can also do. We're also working on an interactive 3D floor plan. So this is coming soon in Q2 of next year. Before I go any further, I'm gonna ask David to do a live demonstration of some of the stuff I showed.
Sure.
David?
Thanks, Sam. 1 second. There we go. Hi, guys. My name is David Kim from Xandar Kardian, Head of Finance and Strategy. As Sam mentioned, we have more than 50 deployments across North America and more than 70 deployments across the globe. And I'll quickly run through a demo to explain how our system can provide actionable data analytics to achieve various use cases in real estate. I'll go through a commercial base building scenario as well as the tenant level scenario and a quick shopping center. Due to time, I'll just focus on those three scenarios. So once you log into our dashboard, let me just maximize the screen here. Once you log into a dashboard, I'm focusing, depending on your credentials, you'll be able to see the properties, your properties. And just looking at this Canadian properties only, we have 42 deployments in Canada right now. So I'm going to go into one of the base building, Class A building in Calgary, 244th. And looking at it, because of the COVID, there's not a lot of activity going on in these buildings. But once you drill into the level, we're going to start to see these number of people or the entrance counting starts to happen. And we focus on tower occupancy as well as the building occupancy. So how many people are actually in the building and how many people are went into tower occupancy? How do we calculate the tower occupancy? Obviously, starting with the building occupancy, it's the in minus out. So we're covering all the entrances of the building. And one sensor will basically do the both ingress and egress of the counting. And we do also have like these elevator zones cover with the in and out sensors as well. So as soon as people enters into the elevator lobby, we know ins and outs. And of course, they're covered in the parking lot as well. Once you dive into the analytic piece, what's the total in, total out, average occupancy of the building per hour, tower occupancy, peak occupancy of this month, and when is the peak hour? So it seems like it's 8 a.m. in the morning when people tries to get into the office in the morning, peak day of the month. So you'll see this bell curve happening, and you'll see a little drop in during lunchtime because everybody's go down to grab a bite. And what is the entrance traffic compared to yesterday and the day before and the week before and the month before? So because, I want to quickly focus on the vertical, we call it a vertical problem that all these buildings have. All the companies are strategizing over to come out with a strategy to bring people back into the office space. And, that's why they want to understand the real-time occupancy. It's pretty, there's not much of a system out there that can count number of people. For example, 199 Bay Street in Toronto. Let's quickly travel to Toronto here. Commerce Court, 199 Bay Street. There we go. It's a very big building. And here, there's about 20,000 people accessing this building every day pre-COVID. But what is the impact after COVID? The traffic decreased about 92% overall, looking at it. And, it's really important to understand how many people are coming in at what time. So this is actually owned by a company called Quadrio. And their head office in Toronto is located in 48th and 49th floor of the building. And we also deployed more than 150 sensors into their office spaces to understand the office utilization as well. But looking at the whole traffic, when the light in and out sensor lights up green, that means there's an activity in that door. So, because of COVID, they did close down some of the office spaces and traffic is not much as before COVID, obviously, due to people are, recommended to work from home. We're able to understand all these analytics once again. Um, we did, and I also want to quickly jump over to a tenant level space. Let's go to Vancouver now, 666 Park Place, Bernard Park Place. There we go. And I do want to quickly introduce our tenant level. analytics. So if we go into the floor plan here, these are, so due to COVID, they want to maintain that social distancing. They actually split these floors into blue team and green team. So every desk, under the desk, there's our XKA 100 sensor that Sam quickly displayed under the desk, understanding 100% of the occupancy and how these desk spaces are being used, as well as the dwell time. So if, this person ABC came into this door and stayed for 4 hours, out of 4 to 5 hours, maybe the notification will be sent to the cleaning service and they'll come and sanitize. So there's different use case here. And depending on how these buildings are, or tenant space or the meeting rooms are used, it's the meeting room that can accommodate 10 people is only used for about an average of 5 people daily. Should we just consider to cut that into 2 different spaces and, make most out of these meeting spaces? So there's a lot of analytics involved in these. And I do also want to jump into the shopping mall case. That this is the Bayview Shopping Mall Center up in North York, north of Toronto. And we're looking at the real-time data as we speak with the less than 3 seconds of latency. So these are all the tenants. And of course, these are the hallways. And the number that you see on top is actual number of people on the floor right now as we speak. Once again, the Toronto is in a complete lockdown mode. So shopping mall is all closed except for essentials such as LCBO, such as Shoppers Drug Mart and the supermarket. So you won't see a lot of traffic happening right now. But then, because they're leveraging this into, various different use cases. Number one, if there's more than 4 people, 5 people, these blocks will basically start to turn into red. So if it goes over 10, that means there's too many people and, social distance is not being met. Therefore, the alert notification goes to security and they'll be able to take an action. And also conversion rate. How many people are passing by LCBO, who enters into an LCBO? And how does that number tie into the revenue monthly or quarterly or annually? So we're able to determine that by not invading the tenant space, because we installed our sensors on front of the store by the entrance, counting number of people. So there are different use cases here. After the mall closure, after 10 p.m., of course, there's only security walking around. We'll see numbers changing. And because they leverage our system to use it as a security purpose too, because, after 10 p.m., there shouldn't be anybody in the north end corner or south corner. So when that happens, the alert notification gets sent again to the security and they'll be able to take an action. So that's a quick demo of ours. And, due to time, we can't get into more details, but, please feel free to reach us at info@xkcorp.com. Sam, do you want to take it over?
Sure. Just to wrap up here, I just have a few more page slides to go through. One of the important areas that we highlight is elevator and elevator lobby counting. Because of the structure of the elevator is metal, glasses, stainless steels, it's very, very difficult for any kind of camera-based systems to count. But for us, it's actually better because the signals are bouncing around even better. So we have been deploying and doing this, and mainly because it's not only for COVID-19 reasons, for people, but also post-COVID-19, where it can actually make the algorithm much more efficient. So you're not going to have the situation where you're going to say, oh, I'm sorry, I'll get the next one, because it's actually full, but the weight sensors don't think it's really full, right? But by having counting, it's going to make a big difference on energy saving and time saving. Just a photo of how this is actually one of the older systems, but most of our sensors are deployed behind something because of the ability to penetrate. A quick overview, power, PoE, but I would say 99% of our deployments have been using 5 volt to 7 volt, 110 AC/DC. One gateway with a hub can power up to 20 of our sensors, so there's quite a cost savings. Each one consumes less than 700 milliwatts of power. How does it connect? Of course, PoE Wi-Fi LTE is fine. We can do that. But recently, we've been deploying a lot with LP-WAN, especially our key partner company, Beartech. This is very, very important because it allows us to run very efficient 24 bits of data. It can, especially if you're going into the base buildings and the the public bathroom areas and the ground floors, or you're not going to go into all the tenant spaces. So you can't rely on PoE Wi-Fi connectivity to be available all the time. With LPWAN, we can be very flexible. We can cover multiple buildings, in fact, with one base station. So overview summary. What we like to highlight is we're an all-in-one solution. You're not going to have to go through a presence detection company, an accounting company, and dashboards and software and things like that. We can do everything all in one, and it is scalable because it's got OTA over-the-air firmware update. It's discrete, as I mentioned. It's reliable. It's very future-proof because if you have deployments because of COVID-19, you have so-and-so deployments, but after COVID-19 is over, maybe you want to use that for something else, completely different type of solution. Then we can do that change without having to invest into new hardware. Energy savings, real energy savings, as I mentioned, security, cleaning, operations, and monitoring. Space utilization, including on-premise alerts. These are all some of the benefits that we can get. And that's it. This is our contact information. And I guess we'll try to open up for questions.
Yeah, we've got a couple of questions that have already come in. Can we start with implementation? Can you talk us a little bit what implementation looks like?
So we have different variable options for implementation. I think the most popular method is power to a gateway, and then from the gateway, we connect multiple of our sensors and using RJ45 cable, and it's very simple. So you see our case here, and then connects to RJ45, and it's deployed. It's installed and it has to be calibrated. Almost all of our systems, except for one, is automatic calibration. So it's fairly, I wouldn't say easy, but it's a simple process.
Maybe the question is around the software implementation as well. So we do have our own. Go ahead.
I skipped that. Sorry, how do I get the data? So I skipped that part. So we can do direct feed. And this is this is what we do for national banks and airports. Like, because of security purposes, they don't want the data to go to some offsite cloud server. But then we also do REST API as well as a turnkey solution with the cloud dashboard. Yeah.
So a question came into the chat. Do you deploy these areas with a seating chart? Have you deployed in areas with seating charts like theaters, restaurants, cafeteria settings?
Not particularly in a theater or a cafeteria, but the new sensor that I mentioned here, it's called XK100. This is actually designed for that specifically. And again, you can't even put it behind, maybe underneath the chair or anything. So it's going to be completely hidden away, and you will be able to do the one-to-one seat detection and dwell time. Have
you deployed in any universities for COVID? Or does any university, period, but this question was about COVID.
Our university, Hanyang University, yes, but not other universities in the US or Canada. Yeah.
Question about, are you guys fundraising?
Yes, we are actually in the middle of our Series A, and we do have lead investor. So please email us if you're interested in discussing about that.
There was a question about, and I'm thinking this is talking about the little sensor, the SK1, I believe. Does it mean a sensor or beacon tag will be assigned to each individual?
Yeah, so this will be designed one-to-one, meaning one person. So that's why it's smaller. It can run on battery power or just 5-pin USB. This guy can cover up to 9.8 meters, which is about 33 feet, and total square footage is about 650 square feet of space, 130-degree angle.
All right, gentlemen, that's it for our questions. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Take care.
All right, thanks everyone.